So what is going on, guys? Hope everybody is having an amazing day. I have an amazing guest who I linked up with on LinkedIn not too long ago. And I want to introduce the founder of YOUNGRY, which I love the name, by the way.
Thanks, man.
Ash Kumra, what's going on, my friend?
What's up, man? Happy to be here, dude. I'm so happy, man. This is such a great show that you got.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, man. So for those folks who do not know who you are, let's get that introduction out of the way.
Let's do it, man. Yeah, man. I'm in the business of just helping people, transforming them, helping them achieve their dreams and goals. I don't want to sound like a Tony Robbins-esque type person, but that's kind of the way I roll. I just believe I have a God-given talent to help people. And for me, it's about just changing lives with communication. So I run a radio show. It interviews entrepreneurs and influencers every week. I co-founded a company called YOUNGRY, which you mentioned. We're launching a kind of upcoming mentorship platform right now. We do a lot of work with entrepreneur organizations and influencers. And outside of that, I just love giving back any way I can.
Yeah, I swear, I looked at your bio and you have quite the line of accolades, my friend. Dr. Oz speaking at the White House. Talk to me about that. Like, how awesome is that?
Yeah, you know what? Very humbled and blessed to get these opportunities. You know, the thing I would say to anyone is if you just stay authentic to what you're doing, good things come. So it's not like this all fell in my lap. It's just working hard. So, and the other thing, and I know we're going to talk about personal branding, is that leverage each opportunity to help you get to the next opportunity. So for my first White House opportunity, all I did was I just was a good entrepreneur. I just created impact and value. Then someone recognized me. And then from that, a book deal came. And then from that, a speaking tour came. Then from that, doing radio media came. It wasn't like I had this mind map and I was like, I'm going to do this, this, this. It's just about being good and truthful and authentic. And that's how those things come.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. When you focus on the right things happen. And that's some of the things that we need to focus in on as entrepreneurs, where, you know, the shiny object syndrome, if you will, all the bells and whistles, all these tactics, all these strategies, like, I get it. It's enticing. But when you focus in on the basics and pay attention to what really matters, you know, that's when everything starts to open up for you. And so let's dive into it, because your expertise is in mentorship. And I know a lot of folks out there have a lot of questions when it comes to mentorship. So the first question I got for you is, how personally, if you could share personally with us, what's the power of mentorship? How has it impacted your life?
You know, I thought about this a lot this morning, because this morning, you know, we were conversating about what kind of questions to ask. And I wanted to get a little vulnerable for a second. That's important. I made this mistake in the past where I had this veil when going to my mentors, where I wanted to have them focus on one part of my life, whether it was money or personal. But a good mentor wants to see the whole picture, and they want to see that vulnerability. That's really important, the first thing, because that's how you're going to get the highest quality mentor. It's kind of like that saying, your network is your net worth. Well, the higher quality mentor comes, the more vulnerable and real you are. I think mentorship comes in several forms. I'm going to give you a couple examples. There was a time in my life where I literally was in a rock bottom phase of my first business, and I wasn't vulnerable, where I didn't want to talk about it to people. I was just like, hey, I'm going to just be on the down low. I'm just going to wallow in my sorrow, be a victim, whatever. I wasn't in that right state, and I was blaming myself, when really all I had to do was make a change. And I got a mentor through a book, a very successful author. His name is Ryan Blair. He wrote the best-selling book, Nothing to Lose. He then wrote a book called Rock Bottom to Rock Star. Just insane entrepreneur rock star. Like, if the term entrepreneur rock star was out there, it would put him on the dictionary. I mean, he really is. And his book, he didn't even know this, because I met him a few years later. his book was like a form of mentorship for me, because when I was in this really rock bottom phase, Nothing to Lose was like the book that like got me out of my like stick to a certain degree. That in my own physical, personal aspects. But that book was like my first kind of experience where I was like, wow, mentorship can be in a book. It doesn't have to just be a one-to-one. So why I'm bringing this up is because be open to the way you get mentorship. It doesn't have to always be like someone like you who can clearly be a mentor for me. It can be in the form of a book or in the form of a media that you do. I think a lot of people have the same form with video. Like Gary Vee is a mentor for so many Gen Z and millennial entrepreneurs, but I don't think Gary Vee actually talks to them. That's okay. He's mentoring through the video. So that's one thing. The second thing is I mentioned earlier about being vulnerable and not trying to put this one area of your life. You have to give a 365 picture or 360 complete picture to a mentor. Meaning, the bigger issue isn't like making money or needing to get a job. The bigger issue is you as a personal self. And one thing I learned from a guy named Dave Meltzer, he wrote Good to Goodness. He wrote a really best-selling book, and it's really introspective, because I reached out to him and I met him and I asked him for mentorship, and he just like went through me like a surgeon. He just cut through the crap, and he's like, dude, you don't need my help for income or career. You need to like transform yourself. And we talked about meditation, stuff like that. So I think those are two things that I'd like to say first about mentorship is find mentorship be open to the kind of mentorship again. And number two, be vulnerable and cut yourself open to let them really see what's going on.
I love it. I love it. So when somebody is out there, like in search of a mentor, like what does one look for? Because I can share with you, I've gone through a slew of mentors and coaches in my career. And it wasn't until about halfway through my career that I actually believed that I needed a mentor. For those folks that haven't been following me, I've struggled with that my first 5 years of my career. I thought I wanted to be the big fish in the big pond.
Yeah.
In the small pond. Nobody could tell me nothing. I knew it all, and eventually that all caught up to me. And then it wasn't until I got my first mentor, Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels, and sat down with him on a one-on-one. And I remember that first call, it was yesterday. I mean, we were both hysterical crying, and I opened up the doors and I just said, listen, I need help. And it's not if, but it's when this happens and when this works that I'm going to get the results that I'm looking for. So, personally, I was looking for somebody who was someone kind of like me, right? But the other thing was I was looking for somebody that was like 5-6 chapters ahead of me, because they paved the way. They're the ones that got the experience, that are doing now what it is that I wanted to be doing, right? And so those were sort of the two things that I looked for when I was picking a mentor. But what about you? Like, how did you pick the right mentor?
Well, I like that comment you said about, someone 5-6 chapters ahead of you. I actually would challenge that comment though and say, find someone who's not like you, because they can give you a different perspective. So when I mentioned Ryan Blair, the entrepreneur rock star, I have nothing in common with him on many levels. I mean, the guy grew up in the hood, literally. The guy is like a 6'2" tatted guy, drives a lowrider, and he's very like urban street. I'm not like that. But the life experiences that he got were similar to mine, and the accomplishments that he had achieved are similar to the things that I wanted to achieve. It was just done a different way. So that's what I mean by like finding a different kind of mentor, because it gives you a perspective. Sometimes when you have people who are just so similar to you, and I get the whole thing about surrounding yourself with 5 people that are going to grow and thrive you. But I'd even say those 5 people need to be like in different fields, different individuals, could be male, female, whatever, gay, straight. I don't care what it is. It just has to be like a different perspective, different way of things. So that's one thing I would really challenge you when finding a mentor, a good mentor. Number 2 is get mentors before the tide hits.
Yes.
It's very easy to get that hey, my business is about to 30, 60 days. I don't know what to do. Or I got this big deal flow page. No, have that in front of you already. Treat it like a savings account where you already have every mentor is like your savings in your, a currency in your savings account, because with that, you really get to have them at a comfortable ease and grace time, and they're not going to be just shocked and trying to like say, oh, I don't even know if I want to be your mentor, fix that. Like, no, Ash prepared me. He told me I'm going to have a relationship with you, this and that. And the third thing I think with a mentor is, I think, find out what's the best way to communicate with them. So I got some mentors that just want me to email them. I have mentors that want me to text them. I have some mentors that just want letters, no joke. It's very interesting. And I have some that are just literally using social media as the way of connecting, Facebook Messenger and IG Live, IG DMs. So really, that's really important, because you want to really respect the communication mediums.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. One of the things that helped me pick the right mentor recently was, and I would love to get your opinion on this. It's so crazy how like energy in the world and certain things come into your life at certain times. And I don't believe in coincidences at all, but I have like this little morning ritual where I get my coffee, I get my breakfast, I come in this office, I sit on this desk, sit on this couch over here. I got a big screen behind me, and I just consume YouTube, YouTube videos. And I just typed in branding, because I'm always trying to sharpen my blade when it comes to branding. That's my wheelhouse. That's what I want to stay in. Like, that's where I go narrow and deep, right? And so this guy is interviewing this other individual in this beautiful looking studio that it looks like it's in his office. And they're talking about branding, and I'm really resonating with what he's saying. He's a little bit, he's got an edge to him, and I like that about him. And so I'm watching him, and now I go to his channel, and now I'm starting to play around on his channel, and all of a sudden I go to his website, and now I'm like, whoa, this and I start to see his accolades. I mean, the guy worked with Chris Martin from Coldplay. Wow. He's won an Emmy Award for a music video that he produced for an Emmy. Gnarls Barkley?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So Gnarls Barkley and the other guy, he was the judge on The Voice. What was his name? CeeLo Green.
Wow.
Right? So I start to see this, and I start to now I go into heavy consumption. And now I'm just digesting everything he's throwing out. And so I looked on his page, and I looked on his website, and he did consulting, and I was like, what? So I hired him, and I got on the call with him, and here's a guy who's in the same business, has the same agency as me, right? But 10 years in the making. So like 10 years more experience than me. So he's been doing this like 22 years. So I said, well, why not learn from this guy? This guy does discovery sessions and strategy sessions, 30, 40. The biggest one he ever closed was 90,000. Just strategy. No design, no nothing. So I said, I got to learn from this guy. So once I got in the same wheelhouse as him, let me tell you something. He started rubbing off on me like you would not believe. and so I had a lot of mentors in the past. I had a mindset coach. I had Russell. I had all these people. But what really I believe is when you find somebody that's doing what you actually do, and they're doing it at that level, it's almost like they live inside of you, because they've gone through a lot of the pains and heartaches that we go through as creatives, designers, entrepreneurs, the whole nine. So once I really started to work with him, I mean, the results were just amazing. And so here's my question. I know that was sort of long-winded, but my question is, do you want to pick somebody that's in your industry is like, are you gonna like that? That's what worked for me, right?
Yeah.
But you know, is it advantageous to do that, or is it advantageous to find somebody that's not in your industry so that you can get that outside perspective?
You know, you asked me the question about, is it better to get a mentor in your industry or someone from the outside perspective, correct?
Right.
You know what I would say to you on that is, I would say get both. So I already used that example of Ryan Blair and then David Meltzer. So David Meltzer, who, just to give you a quick background, is someone who's a lot like me. He's into mindfulness. He's kind of believes in the law of attraction, and he believes in things of that sort. So he's like an older version of me in some ways, using what you said. Ryan Blair, again, is this entrepreneur, Hollywood gangster type guy, but I can't tell you how much I learn about self-branding from him. So I think with your mentorship, you should have it diverse, because, you know, I think, again, if you have the same kinds of mentors who mimic you in your life, you're just staying one way. I think it's good to have diversity, not diversity politically or religiously or culturally. I'm talking about diverse in your views about business and success and personal branding. You know, the thing I would also say, and I think this is a fallacy I've seen with some people, is unfortunately is find mentors that are younger than you too. You can learn so much from the Gen Zers and Gen Xers and millennials, if you are above those ages or if you're lower than those ages. You know, I know this person is somewhat of a controversy right now, but he is still, from a business perspective, a pioneer. Shane Smith, who created Vice. So take away all the scandals that he currently has right now. Just look at his raw, genuine, building a millennial-focused media brand. And it's amazing how far him and his team have gone. And someone once asked him, hey, Shane, what's your key to success? And he's like, I hire a bunch of young guys and girls. I'm a company that's for millennials. How am I going to pick them? Because I'm like a bigger, heavyset 46-year-old dude. What am I knowing? But there's a lot to be said about that. You know what I mean? So that's an example of reverse mentoring. And again, I'm not condoning his personal actions. I'm just his business thinking and how he was able to build this billion-dollar multimedia millennial kind of brand. So it's really important for you to have that perspective with the right kind of mentors.
Oh, I love it. Well, you mentioned personal branding just a second ago, and I want to dive into that. And I want to get into some of the do's and don'ts of personal branding. So, you know, let's start with the don'ts.
Yeah.
We can talk about this for hours. I know we're trying to keep this packed into a 30-minute session here, but what do you think some of the big don'ts are when it comes to building your personal brand?
I think honestly, for me, the do's and don'ts of building a personal brand is this: be authentic, stick to a vision that makes sense for you. So for me, I have gone through many transformations of my personal brand. I really focused on being an operator at a time. I really focused on being a public speaker. I focused on being an author. But now I've come to a point that, like, what I am really passionate about and what strengths I build is I'm really into the media side. So most of my personal branding is more focused on the media communication stuff that I do, whether it's my radio show, whether it's through emceeing, whether it's through, as a co-founder of YOUNGRY, I focused on the content side. I kind of had to focus in, you know how you said you go all in with your personal branding, kind of YouTube content reviewing and stuff? That's like what I focus on. But it doesn't happen overnight. You have to test out your personal brand. I probably spend once a week, at least 20, 30 minutes reviewing my various personal branding profiles, LinkedIn, Instagram. And when I mean reviewing, I literally mean reviewing my headers, reviewing my descriptions, reviewing those kinds of things. So it's really important, I think, for you to stay on top of it. It's not like you just leave it and then let the universe look at it. No, you have to let the universe look at it, review it, and connect with it. But at the same time, you got to be on top of it because it's such an important asset.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm constantly tweaking and changing you know, profile headlines and seeing what connects, what resonates, what doesn't. And so that's super, super important to do. You know, so a lot of people like to set it and forget it. It's the era of automation. And I'm so anti-automation. That's just me. Like, people ask me about automation and I'm just like, for me, it's so inauthentic. Because if I'm sending you an email on X day and maybe that's not my mood, and you just happen to call me that day out of the blue and try to interact, and now you get somebody who's not that that spunky or that whatever your voice was in that email, that to me is like a disconnect. I just find the whole automation thing, because the way I was taught automation is, make sure that it's in your voice, make sure that it's this and that. And, they should have the impression that that email was sent out that day. That's fraud. Like, that's fake. Like, that's not real. So
instead of fake news, it's like fake personal branding. I love it.
Yeah. So it's like, I send out 3 emails a week. And it's very structured. You know what you're going to get Monday. You know what you're going to get Wednesday. And you know what you're going to get Saturday. And you know when you're going to get them, but you never know what might be inside. But people laugh because they're like, man, I was thinking that today. I was totally in that state of mind. I'm like, yeah, me too. I just wrote it. So it's very, very authentic, and it's true to voice. And so, making sure that you just keep it real. I always say real recognizes real. And I use that in a lot of my content because people do see the phony balonies from a mile away. It's that instinct, it's that sixth sense, that we have as entrepreneurs and ours, just as people. If somebody's coming across a little funky, something just isn't 2 and 2 isn't making 4, like something's got to give, right? Yeah. So what do you see? So those are some of the do's, right? But what are the don'ts? Like, besides being inauthentic?
I think I have a saying, follow your passion, not a trend. So I'll give you an example. Just because cryptocurrency is hot right now, don't call yourself a blockchain expert. Really say that you're a blockchain expert because you've been in the game. Don't just do it. Don't confuse your personal branding as a way to get income or jobs. I think it has to be very, very authentic. Also, make it easy to understand. Don't write, I'm a spiritual guide, manifester, blah, 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 when all you're trying to say is, I'm a yoga and mindfulness teacher. I'm being serious. I'm just using an industry that I spend a lot of time in. The ones that do well have that old saying, talk as if a 5th grader can understand it. Make your personal branding clear cut and something that a 5th grader can understand.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. It's where I see people go wrong is when they try to be something that they're not. One of the biggest things that I coach my clients on is why are you doing what you're doing in the first place? Yeah. Like, is it just because it's the next big thing? Like when ClickFunnels came out, everybody jumped on the ClickFunnels bandwagon, right? And it was just like this, it was the best thing since sliced bread. And then all of a sudden, people just started falling out of the sky.
And everyone became a growth hacker.
Yeah, everyone's a funnel hacker. Everyone's a hacker. And I always kid around. Like, I love Russell to death, but I told him straight up when that funnel hacker thing out, and then when that term came out, I said, that word hack in my neighborhood will get you killed. So I'll use your software, but there's no fucking way I'm becoming a hacker of any sort. Because, I've had clients say to me, we were interviewing different agencies and I interviewed this guy and he didn't know. You could tell he didn't know what he was doing. The guy was a hack. That's how we use it in New Jersey. And so I was like, yeah, sorry, I'm not going to fall in. I can't buy into that culture. I'm all about doing R&D. I'm all about doing research and development. Yeah. But I'm not, but what happened was people took that term, ran with it, and they literally started stealing people's identities and trying to just flip them, right? And make it their own. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work, dude. That's not going to work because the authenticity isn't there. The passion isn't there. I was on a client call the other day and the guy said, the guy was into lead generation. He wanted to design a funnel or create a funnel for lead generation. Wow. And I said, so what kind of lead generation? And he goes, I don't give a shit if they're selling toilets. I just want a funnel that's going to create leads for people. And then I could just use that funnel and use it in different verticals. Wow. I was like, yeah, my gut told me this isn't going to be a good fit. So, I could refer you out to somebody else. You could try this agency, that agency. I don't know. But like, I want to work with people that are extremely passionate about something.
Yep.
Right? Totally, like something. So real quick, as we kind of turn the corner, well, I want to make sure that we cover bases here.
Of course.
So first and foremost, so just recapping the do's and don'ts of personal branding. One of the don'ts would be, don't do something that you're not authentic, not passionate about, not super, you have no subject matter expertise behind it, and you're just doing it because it's trendy.
Well said.
Okay.
Follow a passion, not a trend.
Follow a passion, not a trend. I love that. Nice and crisp. The do's of personal branding is, maybe I'll paraphrase this, but stay in your lane. Do something that you're truly passionate about.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. What else? We got anywhere? I'm doing a little rapid fire here.
Yeah. Don't use overused marketing lingo. Blockchain expert, growth hacker. Oh my God, I'm gonna barf every time I hear that.
I love it. So talk to me about YOUNGRY, man.
Yeah. So we're in a very interesting phase right now. It's a great phase. This is an example of branding. Actually, I'm going to use a business example of how I used a business to give us a branding expertise without paying money. You ready?
Okay.
So my co-founder and I created this company, and what's been interesting is that we've always had this idea, similar to Vice, where we're going to market to millennial entrepreneurs and creators. So we did a bunch of things. We created a domain, youngry.com, which had news content for a while. We put on a conference last summer. We put on some pop-up events that had featured speakers. And what was interesting is that all of a sudden we had influencers and organizations say, hey, you seem to understand this millennial kind of entrepreneur creator demo. And when I say millennial, it also includes the Gen Zers. So basically, let's just say under 40 demo. I'm like, yeah, we do. And I didn't say that from puffing myself up. I just said it from our actions and our activities. So for the last 3 to 6 months, we've been doing B2B kind of agency work with big organizations, because our bigger goal is to launch a collaborative virtual mentor app. And we realized that before we launch it live, we want to scale our team, build our brand equity a little higher. So instead of being in the lab and being in a R&D lab, not telling the world what we're doing while we're waiting for this bigger thing to come, we've been lucky where we've been getting consulting work while we're waiting for the big thing to come. But what's cool about the consulting work is that it's authentic. It's helping other brands understand the millennial entrepreneur kind of demo. So while we're working on that, we're secretly building this larger collaborative mentor app, which we'll talk about in the end of fall, winter, when it launches next year. But I'm bringing this up because I hear a lot of people saying that they want to use their brand or their company or individual to get consulting work or be an influencer. You got to do it just by showing a consistent stream of activities around a certain type of demo. And that's how I'm doing it. I can't say some of the names I'm working with, but I can tell you that they're big. They involve international groups. I'm talking about Davos kind of big, and it's from just doing what we're doing.
I love it.
Yeah.
And why do you could have done 1,000 things in your career, Ash.
Yeah.
What honed you in to forming YOUNGRY? I really want to know the why behind it. If I don't care how many layers deep you want to go, but
oh man, I can go deep, dude.
I'm always fascinated by why people created their brands in the first place.
I think the brand YOUNGRY was created because I think you have to be your ultimate customer. So I'm the type of person where I come to a realization that instead of complaining about something need to be made, I decided that I want to create it instead. So if I don't like what's in front of me, I need to change the conversation. And as Don Draper would say, from Mad Men, I really feel that there is this need to build a next gen kind of media kind of brand that can help empower, I feel, the most important generation of our time, which is entrepreneurs. And so I couldn't find anything out there. Again, I homage the vices, I homage the complex, I homage the complex media, I homage a lot of these forward-thinking brands that I look up to and learn from. My own business company mentors, but at the same time, I couldn't find anything that was like connecting with like this dearth, this creator, this like person who wants to transform and change the world, be a change agent. So YOUNGRY fell in my lap because I manifested it. I didn't create YOUNGRY. YOUNGRY came to me. You know, it's a saying you have to understand. I think that's another thing you have to do to get a little mindful for a second is embrace the idea that if you want to see something change or something happen, you have to tell the universe that with your actions and with your network, and then opportunities will come. I didn't create the name YOUNGRY. My co-founder came to me who had the name YOUNGRY. And I think he came to me because he saw what I was doing and I naturally saw what he was doing. And so the marriage of YOUNGRY between him and I and other people involved had to happen. It was destiny in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I'm picking up what you're throwing down. I do that all the time. One of my big pet peeves I have with myself is that I don't ask the universe enough for what it is that I want. And the days go by, the months go by, the years go by. And then I look back and I say, whoa, had I just asked? And when I do ask, it comes to fruition. It's like, it's so creepy. It's woo-woo in a sense. But like, man, when I tell you, it is so true. But when you ask for it, it shows up. I mean, it just shows up. And I'm totally resonating with what you're saying about how it found you versus you trying to create it. You know, I feel the same way that's how I became a graphic designer 10 years ago. You know, it was just like, wow, I had no idea what it was. Now here I am. And it's like, that was it. That was meant to be, period. And it's just a blessing. You know, I look at these things as blessings, you know, sometimes they're a curse.
Can I tell you my view on blessings for a sec?
What's that?
Can I tell you my view on blessings?
Go ahead.
So I have a belief that there's no such thing as failing. I think life is either a lesson or a blessing.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if you quote unquote failed, it's actually an experience for you to learn and grow. And from that experience, it's a life lesson. And a blessing is what you said, where you meet like-minded people, you find your calling, you do your purpose, you do your passion, you crush it, whatever you want to do. But that's why I believe that life is either lessons or blessings.
Oh, I love it. What a great mindset to have. I mean, that's
another thing, you know, sorry to interrupt you on that, but you got me on a mojo right now. You connected with my own personal brand feeling vibes, but when you said the word mindset, that's like my kryptonite. Like I could go forever and ever. And that's one thing we didn't really talk about on this talk. I think your mindset makes or breaks what brand you both want to share and how you want to prosper and monetize. If you are the person who is into meditation every day, you're likely going to do a personal brand or something around meditation or mindfulness, or you're going to incorporate it into your hack productivity. If you're a type who's into fitness all the time, like, so I have this new love affair with fitness. I've always had a lot of lessons where I put on weight, gain, lose it, put on weight, lose it. But now I made a conscious effort for what can I learn from these lessons where I would go up and down with my weight. Like, man, I'm like a harmonica. I go up and down.
Me too.
Now I think I found my flow. I applied visualization and meditation to where I want to see my ideal body. And I can tell you that because of that, I've gotten really deep into the fitness world. And the thing I like about fitness people is that the industry as a whole is that they're in the business of transforming people, transforming lives. I'm bringing this up because I meet a lot of, now that I'm in the fitness, like I do the boot camps, I do the HIIT cardio, I do all the things, I buy the supplements. I now interact with people saying, hey, I want to help you in your fitness game. I don't look at them externally on how big their body is or if they're ripped or if they're, you know, good looking or not, all those vanity things, I guess. I look at what is their mindset? What are their daily habits? Do they meditate? Do they do things that I do on a bigger picture? Then I know that they're my fitness mentor. So I think that's why that mindset, likewise mindset equals likewise mindset, is so important.
Yeah, I love it. No, I love it. So as we wrap up, where can we send folks that are interested in learning more about you, learning more about YOUNGRY, and all the stuff that you got going on?
Yeah, you know what? I would really, first off, thank you so much for this interview. You're a great interview. You're one of the few people I know that has a high quality radio voice, but also is as good looking, if not better good looking. When you meet guys and girls that are like online radio guys or girls or podcasters, you're like, all right, they're meant to be behind the camera, but you have like this, you have like a TV show face and look, and you have the voice too. And it's a total straight guy vibe, but I'm just being real. Like you're good, man. You got to keep this up.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you.
So for me, I want to connect with people directly. So I am, like I said, with YOUNGRY, we're going to be launching some big things in the fall and winter. So send me an email, ash@youngry.com. I will make it sweet for you guys and girls. If you send me an email, I'll give you a free version of my first book, PDF form. No click through, no funnels. I'm just going to send it to you. That's it. No, I have no hidden click here and you'll get other stuff. I'm going to directly email you. No, because this is a show about mentorship. And my first book that I wrote, Confessions from an Entrepreneur, I profiled 30 plus successful rock star entrepreneurs. And it was like this big book on mentorship. And I got the rights to send PDF versions for free to people. So I'm going to give it to you. Whether you want to reach back to me after, that's your choice. But it's my way of giving back to you for taking the time to listen to this interview. Outside of that, check me out. I'm really big on LinkedIn right now. So add me on LinkedIn, ASH space KUMRA, and also add me on IG, Ash Kumra, ASHKUMRA.
There you go. Well, there you have it, guys. Another Brand Doctor podcast in the books. Ash, thanks for coming on the show. Love what you dropped. Love the mindfulness and the mindset tricks. Yep. And I shouldn't say tricks, but the mindset that you use on a daily that helps you get through your day, and just all the amazing information that you provided today. It was really, really helpful. I learned quite a bit from you, and I know our audience and listeners and viewers on Facebook Live, are going to take their nuggets and hopefully implement some of the stuff that you said. So again, thanks for coming on the show. Real quick, guys, I like to do a quick little outro, if you will, every episode. If you haven't subscribed to this channel or podcast yet, I invite you to do that now. If you haven't shared it with a friend or a colleague, I thank you in advance and invite you to do that as well. And if you are digging the content and just loving what we're doing here, if you could take a quick second and just write a quick little written review on iTunes, you have no idea how that juices me up and just helps me stay fired up and continuously bringing you the heat every episode. So thank you again for watching. Thank you again for listening. And we are here to help you take your brand and business to the next level. And I won't stop until I make that happen. Take it easy, guys. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Take care.